Hey guys, welcome out to the shop. Today we got a woodworking project going on today, and what I have to do is build a new drawer for our kitchen, and I'm going to be doing it the simplest way possible, and that is through all the big box store lumber that they have. So we'll start off with telling you guys what I picked up, and I went ahead and measured a drawer that was identical to the one I need to build. And it's using some 3/8 inch pieces by 3.5 inch pieces. The drawer is going to be 22 inches long, so I went ahead and picked up 3 of these pieces right here, and these are just out of pine, but I did check and they do have this size in poplar and the red oak as well, in case you wanted to go that route. But all my other drawers are already made out of pine, so I didn't want to make it look different. Even the front of the drawer is out of pine, and I believe it has like a golden oak stain on it, so we're going to do that as well. So I picked up this piece of 3/4 inch thick by 6 inches, and this is a 4 foot long piece, and I think the drawer front is only going to be 12 inches in length, so I'll have plenty left over to put in my scrap pile over there. And then when you are going to pick out your drawer slides, there's all sorts of different slides that you can choose from. I picked up this cheap one for $6. It's a Euro slide. This one does only 3/4 extension, and I went ahead and started looking around. The full extensions start off at $18 a piece, and then that was for the ball bearing one, and then the other one with the soft close full extension was $22. So I went with this cheap one right now because it was going to be way too expensive. I got 5 drawers in the kitchen that I would like to have full extensions on, and I actually found a pack of 10 on Amazon for $60. So the price difference, I mean, I could get 3 full extension soft close for $60, or I can get a pack of 10. So when you're checking stuff out like this, always check around for the prices. So that's why I just went ahead right now with the cheaper one, and then maybe next month or 2 months away, something like that, I'm going to go ahead and spend the extra money and get 10 of the soft close and just keep them. I was even thinking about putting over here on this other workbench, so I might be able to put in some drawers on that. So for the bottom, the other week I was on Facebook Marketplace and I found this guy that had a ton of pieces of this little 1/8 inch plywood. It is a maple veneer, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and use for the drawers as well, just because I have plenty of it. But you guys can pick that up at the big box store as well. No worries about that. You just got to make sure that you always measure your width of your plywood before you make the dados on the bottom. Let's go ahead and get cutting some wood. I'm going to start by cutting out the 2 sides for the drawers, and I'm going to be making those 21.5 inches long. And I got my crosscut sled in place. I made my 2 marks right here, and the way I can do this now is by lining it up right with the slot so that the correct, or the good side, is off on the right and my bad side gets cut on the left. So the way I've got it set up is so that my line that I've made, my mark, is right here. The good side is on this way, or on this side. My bad side is on there. So I'll make sure that my mark is lined up with this side of my cut line already on my crosscut sled. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this, and then we're going to work on the front and back section. While I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and cut the front face of my drawer, and that's going to be 12.5 inches, so I have a 1/4 inch sticking off on both the right and left sides. So this time I've made my mark on the shorter edge, so I'll make sure to put my line on this side of the cut. For the front and back parts of the drawers, we want to have them kind of overlap in here. And what I'm going to be doing is running a dado down here. And I've made a mark right in the middle here. And that is how deep I'm going to be making the dado, which is going to be 3/16 of an inch deep. What I have to do is make it so that both sides are 3/16 inch shorter for the front and rear, which comes out to be 3/8 of an inch. So the drawer I want to be 11 inches wide. So I'll take that 11 inches wide and shorten the front and back down by 3/8 of an inch. So after doing all that math, you get that each front and back piece needs to be 10 and 5/8 inches wide. So now we're on to the fun part of the drawer, and it's cutting all the dados. And what I have is I've gotten where I made a mark for 1/4 of an inch. I want 1/4 of an inch meat on the bottom just to hold the drawer. And I've also made sure that I've labeled everything. So all my names go on the outside of the drawer so that nobody will see them. And we'll go ahead and I got this for the top, so we'll make sure that is like that. We're going to cut our first pass going through, and then we'll move our fence off to the right and fit it for the drawer bottom. Now that I've moved this over, I'm going to take just one of my pieces and make another test run just to make sure that I can fit it into the little bottom drawer piece. So I've got my bottom drawer right here, and what I'm going to do is just make sure that I can fit it in there, and that fits perfect. So there is the drawer. So that's almost a perfect fit right there. It's got barely any wiggle room, but enough for any kind of movement in the drawer that's going to end up happening. So we're going to go ahead and cut the rest of the sides to this width. Now that we've gotten our dados made, what I need to do is, you may be looking at it and be like, well, I'm going to have through cuts on all of my sides now. So what you're going to do is take your front or side board and you're going to put it on the back corners, and you're going to run a line on each side, and this is how we're going to hide those through cuts for the dados. So I got my right and left, and then we'll do this one as well. Flip it around, make your marks. And because I've already gotten my table saw blade set up to the correct height, I can just go ahead and flip this over. Now I can just go ahead, make sure that I'm going to be cutting on the correct side of the line. And I'll just make a couple different passes. So now whenever you go to mount this all together, it'll all be hidden, just like that. Yeah. So here is the dry fit. As always, before you do anything with like glue or anything like that, you want to go ahead and do a dry assembly real quick just to make sure everything's correct and fits well. So there is like all my corners. They all fit well, perfect. The drawer bottom looks great in there. I like having that maple color in there. We'll be leaving that. But yeah, that's the basics of it. That's the easy part, is just cutting out the drawer. So we're gonna go ahead and add some glue. We'll put 3 nails in on each corner, just to kind of hold it together while it's gluing and drying up. And while it is drying, we'll work on the front panel. Now that we've gotten all of our drawer parts cut and we're ready for the assembly process, I've got 2 clamps ready for the sides, and then that'll hold it while I get the edges pinned up. So we're just going to add some glue, and you don't want to add glue where the drawer bed is going to be laying, or the bottom part of the drawer, because you want that to be able to move a little bit with the different changes in humidity. So you're only doing the corners, and that will be plenty strong enough anyway to hold it all together.
Fine. Dad, my hair's soaked.
It was a lot easier just to go ahead and get this tacked together, and after I got it tacked, I took a square and checked all of the corners just real quick and made sure that it was squared up. If it's not square now, then this is the time to fix it. If it's like glues up and dries and it's not square, it'll be a pain in the butt trying to get that all done, and you'll be able to see it on the drawer front whenever you put the drawer into the cabinet. Now it's time to go ahead and work on that front of the drawer. A drawer front can be very, very basic. It can just be a plank of wood with some hardware mounted to the front. It can be curved edges, could be carved. I mean, it can be whatever you want, especially if you're starting from scratch and you're making all of the drawers all yourself. You can make it whatever kind of design that you want. I am trying to match some of the ones that are already in the house, and it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge trying to get it just perfect. But I'm going to do my best to try to figure out how to get around all of the little cuts and stuff that they've already done to get it to match what I think needs to be done. So what it is that I've got to do is figure out how to kind of get like a back bevel from the top corner down. It's like a 2-degree bevel or angle. And then even on the front, it's cut with a slight recess going back in. And then on the corner, it has a round over bit that they seem like they put through a router. So I've got to try to work through it and figure out how to get all those different cuts. And I think the first one that I need to do is get the front square. I need to get it down to the final size first. And the length of it is fine. I need to cut this down to 4.5 inches, and then I'll be coming in and cutting the little recess that get like a raised center section right here. Alright, so I went ahead and got the bevel created on the edge, as you can see right there. And the way I did it was just running it vertical, stuff like that, up along the table saw. And it gave me a nice little profile. And so now I'll come back and I'll also cut on the back side of all of these, and then we'll try to get the rounded over corner. And while we're doing this, we want to do the right and left sides first in case there's any tear out. Then we'll be able to cut that off. So what I need to do is get this out of the way. Need the miter gauge in here. And setting this up, I want the blade to be just barely poking out of this corner right here. And I'll just have to eyeball that. So that looks good right there. And I've got this set on a 15-degree bevel. Alright, so my first pass, it didn't go far enough. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little flat spot up here on the top. And I'm going to go ahead and bump that back up against the blade, bring it back, and just bring it over a little bit more. Alright, so there you guys go. There's the first pass, or the second pass on that side. And we'll do the exact same thing, except use the fence to ride this piece of wood along. And we'll lock it in place. Push stick is ready. Here we go. So we've got a 1/4-inch round over bit right here, and I've made it so that this little hip cut right here is just below the bottom side of this. So we'll be cutting this with that front face on the ground, and it'll cut just below the, hopefully, I think it needs to be adjusted just a bit more further down. So we don't want the whole round over to get into the profile of the drawer. We just want it to barely have that curve. So we'll go ahead and do it right there. And we can always adjust it up more. You don't want to go too far. You can't add the wood. So we're going to go ahead and do one like it is right now and see how it does. This is about it. I've got to go over it with some sandpaper and stuff like that, but for the most part, that is the drawer front and how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to have a slight round over, back bevel on this side, or on all the back sides, and then it's supposed to have that cut out profile for the front. So what I'll probably end up doing is just going to get a block sandpaper, just like this one, and put some stronger grit and just kind of work that back and forth until I get the two planes to meet. I got 220 grit on there right now, so it's not really going to do anything, but I'm going to go ahead and work on that, get it sanded down a little bit, and then I'll come back and I'll show you guys what it looks like. And now we have sanded all the way up to 220 grit, and the profile is finished being shaped. So we got that slight bevel right here, and it blends right into the curve on both the sides and the short and long side. very happy with how this one has turned out. This was the first one that I've really had to not design, but try to match and try to figure out how to match it. So I'm happy with how it actually turned out, and now we need to go ahead and get this stained with some golden oak stain, and then get this mounted up onto the actual drawer that is sitting in right there in the background, and then we'll be able to put the runners on it and put it in. So I'm ready to be putting the front onto the drawer, and I checked out all of the other drawers, and we've got about 1/4 of an inch hanging down below the drawer. And so what I've went and found is 2 pieces of 1/4 inch just plywood or poplar right here, and I've just sat the drawer on there. Now what I can do is take my drawer front and rest it flat onto whatever surface. In this case, I've got my table saw right here. And then I'll come back and look. No! Then I can come from the top side or even from the back side with a ruler, make sure that I'm even from right to left. And that looks pretty good, but I'm going to go ahead and get a measuring tape on there, and then we'll get 2 screws to come in from the back side. So this was a very, very basic drawer. It's very easy to design or just to make. I got all the lumber straight from Lowe's, and all of the dimensions were exactly what I needed. I just went and looked and picked up the 3/8 by 3.5 inch lumber, and it worked out perfect. And if you need drawers, this is very simple and a quick way to make them, because you don't have to worry about milling anything down. This is just a standard drawer, and the only part that you really can design or change is the front of your drawer. I wanted mine to match all of the other drawers, and I believe that I have accomplished that. It's got the nice bevel on the outsides, and then the rounded over top, and then the back side has the angle as well, and it matches all of the other drawers, or at least very close. So I'm happy with it. I think that it has turned out good. Even the color matches somewhat to the kitchen. Of course, it's about 30 years old, so it's got some of the color has changed over time, and this will eventually get there. So I hope you guys found this video useful, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you guys have any other tips or tricks that could add to make this even simpler, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys new, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday. So until next time, I'll see you guys on the next video.